Hey guys, what's up and welcome to a new Tesla update video. So today, as per usual, let's go over Tesla stock, let's go over the market, and let's figure out what is happening with the stock, what we can expect moving forward, and all of that good stuff. So as usual, if you enjoyed, don't forget to hit that like button. It does help a lot. This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. And of course, my membership section is live. The link is down below if you're interested. For $2.99 a month, you get access to all my intraday thoughts, posts, updates, technical analysis, options flow on Tesla every single day that the market is trading constantly throughout the day. Updating on all information that I think is worthy of updating, obviously. So yeah, if you're interested, that link is below, but you get access to all of that right then and there for just $3 a month. But jumping into it, Tesla, unfortunately, red on the day, closing down about 1.4%, closing at pretty much $175 per share. Compared to the market, of course, obviously an underperformance. It feels like Tesla really just does the opposite of the market lately, doesn't it? But that could hopefully be a good sign if that trend continues, because the market is still looking kind of toppy. It did go even higher and made new all-time highs, but it pretty much did it on extremely low volume once again. So, I am a little bit concerned by that. So if the market maybe decides to correct, maybe Tesla continues doing the opposite. We'll see. But with that being said, let's take a look at the chart itself and figure out if we can get, a little bit more impactful, I guess, information, if you will. So first and foremost, Tesla closing in, pretty much going sideways for the majority of the day, right? It did start off with a pretty aggressive selling pressure towards the morning. You can see here, pretty just powerful selling pressure really to start off the day on increasing volume as well. And then we just pretty much went sideways right after that. But that's obviously on a very, very short time frame. Let's talk about the longer time frames. Let's talk about the daily first, actually. We'll start off the daily chart. And we're actually gonna look at TSLQ a little bit briefly as well. But ultimately the way I look at it is pretty simple. And something actually happened today that made things a lot easier moving forward, right? That's gonna make things a lot easier moving into tomorrow or maybe the day after. I don't think it'll take longer than about Wednesday, honestly. But something happened today. And what is that? Well, pretty simply put, it is going to be, as I remove the drawings, similar to what we actually had on the weekly just last week and the week before that, which we had an inside week candle. Well, on the daily chart, we have an inside day candle, right? Which is going to be, of course, these two candles right here. Today's candle and yesterday's candle, we'll say, which is going to be a Friday's candle, right? What is it? Well, you can see this in today's trading range and today's candle, it pretty much traded within the range of, we'll just say yesterday's candle to make it easy, right? Yeah, or Friday's candle, right? We didn't go above or below the highs, right? We traded pretty much almost exactly within the range of that candle, right? Of that trading range, which obviously now makes it an inside day candle. What does that mean and why does it make it easy moving forward? Well, inside day candles are pretty nice. Usually they signal potential reversals, but in this case, it's hard to say. Are we technically in a little bit of a downtrend over here, or are we technically in this little small uptrend, right? Who knows what it's reversing? But luckily, we don't have to guess, because all we have to do now is just wait to see which level breaks first. And it's extremely simple, thankfully, right? The way you want to look at it is this. If tomorrow, for instance, it could be as early as tomorrow easily, or Wednesday. I'd be surprised if it's later than Wednesday, but tomorrow or Wednesday, in my opinion, if we break above today's highest point that we traded, which obviously is 177.75. If we break, it's pretty much starting tomorrow, above 177.75, bullish, we most likely head into the 180s and probably well into the 180s, like 185 or so is my current guess right now, pretty quickly, in my opinion. Most likely by even like probably sometime this week, if not even earlier, like maybe like, Wednesday or Thursday, something like that, right? But sometime this week, we head there. But that's obviously if we break the high and break out of that trading range from today's highest point. Obviously, the flip is true as well. If instead tomorrow, Wednesday, we break below the trading range, the lowest point of today's trading range, which happens to be sitting at 173.5, we'll say. Pretty simple, right? If we break below 173.5, what does that mean? Well, that probably means we're on our way down even further, unfortunately, right? That means that we most likely make our way down. At the very least, we'll come back down to this 170 to 168 range that we did kind of bottom out over here and did get a so far, okay looking rally from there. Maybe set up a potential double bottom, who knows? But at the very least, we'll come down to this 167-ish to 170-ish range. But it also wouldn't surprise me if we do actually ultimately end up breaking through that and go down even lower to about the low 160s. Remember that 163 to 160 level I've been talking about for quite some time? Really wouldn't be surprised to see that if we break below today's lowest point in the trading range tomorrow, Wednesday, etc. So those are the main levels, in my opinion. If you really want to make it simple, if you don't want to overcomplicate things and you want to just as simple as possible, again, above 177.75 bullish, below 173.5 bearish. It's really that simple. Now, obviously, it's not guaranteed. Obviously, there's still risk behind it. Obviously, it's not 100% if we break above that as bullish or break below that as bearish. But probability is most likely on your side, and it's a pretty damn good chance that is the case in that respective direction. So, if you want to keep it simple, that's the way you look at it. Now, let's take a look at the overall structure. So what actually happened today, right? On the daily chart, obviously we have, like I said, still before, we had this massive run up, we had this correction, set up a bull flag, we broke out of it, came back, we tested it, and now we're kind of going sideways as we're getting ready to pretty much gear up for that next move, which in my opinion, most likely will be dictated by those two levels I just mentioned, and obviously those respective directions. So that's the way I look at it, number one. But, we did come down. We did kind of retest this volume profile briefly, ever so slightly once again, right? We're so far holding it pretty well, right? And we're holding this bull flag breakout so far as we're kind of going sideways and waiting for that next move direction. Obviously, on the flip side, we still have this bear flag potentially, right? From this massive run up. Then we had this massive sell off, which, you can argue is essentially a bear flag that we've talked about for many days now, but it's still technically in play on the 4 hour. 4 hours is the one that looks the best in my opinion, to really not get any potential false breakouts or whatnot. But speaking of false breakdowns, we did get a false breakdown today, ever so slightly, you can see here, which we did recuperate, which you can argue is a bullish thing, and we did actually close this 4 hour candle at the high of not the day, but at the high of that specific 4 hour period in this specific candle, which is pretty decent to see, right? And arguably setting up an okay looking hammer candle. The only issue with this hammer candle is the wick below is a little bit short. I would definitely like to see a longer wick, but it's a very so okay-ish looking hammer candle, still showing some potential bullishness while it's also roughly holding this volume profile here on the 4 hour chart, right? Which isn't too bad as well. Tomorrow, ideally, I'd want to see, at the very least, I want us to see, hold 175-ish. I don't want to see much lower than 175 tomorrow would be the case that I'll be looking at. But, if we go below 175, then I really don't want to see below like the low 174s. But like I said, if you really want to make it simple, we talked about the main levels to look out for: 177.75 for bullish continuation, 173.5 for bearish continuation. So that's kind of the way I look at it, right? We have that bullish aspect on the daily chart here. We have that bearish aspect on the 4 hour chart over here with this bear flag. The stochastic, of course, on the 4 hour chart is crossing bearish. However, on the daily chart, it is crossing bullish. So there's a lot of contradicting factors here. So it really depends on how you want to look at it. In all honesty, that's kind of the issue sometimes with a lot of these indicators. We can pretty much keep changing timeframes until you find something that fits your personal narrative or whatever that narrative may be. So that's why you always want to take these technical analysis things, with a bit of a grain of salt. They're not perfect, but it's more about a probability, right? What's the probability? What's the higher likelihood of, this move, for instance, happening compared to the opposite move happening? It's all about probability, right? Now, and again, if you want to be safer, you just wait for a break of one of those two levels I did talk about. The MACD is still holding bullish, right? The weekly candle, of course, still looking pretty damn good on the MACD. You can see it is making a higher high on the MACD. It's still looking more and more bullish. Obviously, there's a lot of time in the week, but if we do get this move continued upwards into the 180s, this will look like absolutely gorgeous for the MACD. And I think Tesla should continue upwards pretty nicely, honestly, overall. So that's the main thing I'm looking at, right? The 1 hour chart, we're roughly holding this as well, this little, potential bear flag. This is the bottom of the bear flag, this green line right here, right? We're roughly holding it. Also had a false breakdown today on the 1 hour, you can see over here, but ultimately we did hold it. We did close back above it, and the stochastic on the 1 hour chart is looking to flip bullish as well. So in my opinion, I said this on Friday and I'll say it again, I'm still more bullish than bearish. I'm still like 75% bullish, 25% bearish. I do have shares, of course. I do have cash. I do have cover. I don't have cover calls just yet, actually. I will sell cover calls if we do break into the 180s. Then I'll sell cover calls. Or if we break below this bear flag and start closing candles below this bear flag, that most likely will tell me that we, at the very least, go sideways a lot longer, or maybe like slowly bleed down to the 170 to 168 region at least. Like that's like the best case scenario in my opinion, if we do break down and get a confirmed breakdown. If not, obviously come down to, like I said, the 160s, the low 160s. Then I'll sell cover calls to hedge my shares, or maybe just sell my shares. I'm not sure which one I would do yet, but we'll see how it happens, if and when it happens. But, that's kind of the main way I'm looking at it right now, right? That's kind of the overall main thought process I have. Again, to me, the biggest risk still overall for Tesla, though, honestly, is still the market. I still think the market's looking pretty toppy. It's still in a bullish structure, but it does look like it needs to get a bit of a correction here. You can see it's extremely overextended. It's pumping on very low volume, which is a little bit concerning. I'm not going to lie. Can't say I'm happy to see that. And, it's just a matter of, does the market potentially, if it does do this like 3-ish% correction, which I still expect, does that bring Tesla down with it? Or does Tesla continue doing its own thing and just really does not give a flying F about what the market is doing? That'll be the ideal scenario, since, if the market does correct, hopefully Tesla does the opposite, and that'd be nice to see. But we'll see, of course. We'll see it as it goes. But keep in mind, right, other factors that are important to understand for this potential bullish continuation and why I'm 75% bullish and not 75% bearish is mainly because of the factors I mentioned that are the bullish aspects. But also, of course, don't forget, we're still holding above that pretty much 20-day moving average, which is this white line right here as we came back to the mean, and now we're holding above it, which is good. That's bullish. We're also still holding the 21 EMA. We pretty much bounced off of it almost to perfection today. Bullish. We're still above the 50-day moving average. Bullish, right? And the next main resistance point, if you're looking at it, if you're like a moving average person, if you will, is going to be that 100-day moving average, which is sitting at pretty much the high 180s right now, 188 roughly at the very moment. That would be like the main resistance point that I think, there's a damn good chance we come to if we do break above today's high sometime tomorrow, which is like 177.5. Break that, I think the mid to potentially high 180s is probably next, probably pretty soon, honestly, as well. So yeah, that's the main thing I'm looking at in terms of options flow all over the place. But the main thing I want to notice is the fact that Tesla does have the most bearish flow today over here on Black Box, which I have a link to Black Box and to Cheddar Flow down below. Both of them are great option tools. Cheddar Flow is a little bit easier, but Black Box is a little bit more in depth. Really depends on which one you want. I have a link to both of them with a discount code attached to my link as well if you're interested in trying it out for yourself. But the main thing to notice is the fact that Tesla did have a 1.3 million puts come in that expires this Friday at 180 strike. It did come in about an hour before market close, and Tesla actually did pump ever since this put came in. So maybe they took the L. Who knows exactly what happened there with that put? Maybe they're still holding it. Maybe they expect Tesla to still crash. Who knows? But there has been a lot of put pressure that came in on Tesla throughout the day, right? There's another 1 million put that came in here also at about 1:30 p.m. today, Eastern Standard Time. Also 180 put came in for this Friday. So a lot of puts came in on Tesla. Some of them, of course, are a bit longer dated, like maybe towards the end of this month, maybe next week, or maybe even like June, July. But yeah, all in all, that's kind of the main gist of what I'm seeing. I'm still overall more bullish than bearish on Tesla as it stands right now, with some obvious risk factors attached, such as, of course, the market, such as a potential bear flag still potentially playing out that we talked about. And of course, what I'm noticing as well is the sentiment is once again kind of so on Tesla right now, because a lot of people, rightfully so, are fearful of that the shareholder vote that's coming to an end soon in June, like mid-ish June, I think June 13th or something like that, where we get to decide as to what happens to, for instance, Tesla relocating to Texas, what happens to Elon's compensation package, right? All these factors. So, we'll see how that plays out. That is definitely, in my opinion, one of my concerns as well, because who the hell knows how that's going to play out? And who the hell knows what happens to Tesla stock if it fails or doesn't fail? Who the hell knows if it fails, what does Elon do? There's a lot of unknown factors right now. And that's, I think, one of the main things suppressing Tesla stock. But yeah, anyway, that's the main thing I'm seeing. And that's the main thing I'm looking at right now. So with that being said, let me know if you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button. And of course, as per usual, I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.